Hi, welcome to Joanna's DIY Life. On this channel, I like to do a little bit of everything. Today, we are going to be using Dollar Tree frames to make beautiful things. Now, let's get crafty. So for this first one, I'm going to use 4 of these square frames. I'm going to use these papers from the paper packs. These were from the Dollar Tree. This paper scrap pack is from Michael's. I get them when they're on sale. I'm going to use these 2, and then I'm going to use these 2 sheets of paper. And first thing I'm going to do is open all these. Then I'm going to take all the backs and the windows out, okay? I'm saving the glass. I'm going to use the glass as a template to draw out my squares. And I'm going to do this on all my paper and cut my squares out. Once I have my squares out, I'm going to take these 2 images that I wanted and I am going to carefully cut them out. Once my 2 images are cut, I'm going to use one of the images as a template to cut the 2 sheets of paper the same size. I want them all the same size, so I'm just going to line them up and I'm cutting both at the same time, the same size as my little word pieces. Now that I have everything cut out the way I want it, I'm just going to take stick glue and I am going to glue all the pieces all the way around, and I am going to place them right in the center. I'm not measuring, I'm just eyeballing to get the center. That glue was not cutting it, so I got my favorite glue stick. This stuff sticks anything, people. So I'm just going to put glue on this and glue them down. And I will tell you that I used that rubber brayer down there to push it down, because this is, it's got, you know, holes in it and indentions and all that. It's textured paper. But the one from the Dollar Tree works too. I'm just using the rubber one because it's bigger. So once I get them all done, I got to clean my glass. Now that my glass is clean, I am going to insert the glass and place my paper in, and I'm not putting the backs on because I don't want those in there. So I'm just going to put my papers in and put them all back together. Once I get them back together, make sure that you have your words and everything going the right way. Y'all, I had to get a drink. You ain't Southern if you ain't got good Southern sweet tea sitting there. And I was singing, so my throat got dry. Plus, I have a beautiful cup. Anywho, I'm going to use the E6000 for a permanent, and then I'm going to use hot glue to tack them. The hot glue makes a thickness in there that I cannot stand. So if I could have just used the E6000, that's what I would have done, and just put my patient pants on and waited till it glued together. But I ain't got time for patient pants, so it's hot glue and E6000, people, and that's what we're going to do to get these together. Now that my box is together, I'm going to take these large craft sticks. They're not the big ones. They're the medium size, like, you know, I don't know. You get them at, I get mine at Walmart, sometimes Hobby Lobby. But anyways, I'm just going to glue them on to make a bottom. And make sure that when you put this together now, you're putting all your wording and everything the right side up. And I am just going to put this down and I'm going to mark where I need to cut these off. And I'm taking these pruning shears from the Dollar Tree. They are the best for these popsicle sticks, y'all. It cuts them without splintering the wood and breaking it and all that junk. So anyways, I'm going to cut off all my ends and get them all right. You know, all the same size, whatever. I know what I'm saying. And then I'm just going to take hot glue and I'm going to glue them down. There's no need to use wood glue because these pieces are, these frames, all their frames, these are covered with a paper. So the wood glue actually does you no good. So it's just hot glue. Now that that's on, look, I have a bottom. It looks good. Clean up all my glue. Now I have the cutest little planter box. I'm a fake flower person, y'all, so that's what's going on in here, but it's going to be cute when I'm done, I promise. I'm just going to take this floral foam from the Dollar Tree and I'm going to cut it down, and I honestly don't think that I glued it down because when I wedged it, it was pretty tight, so it wasn't going to go anywhere. If you ever want to change your florals out for any season or whatever, you can do that. If you want to change your pictures out, all you have to do is pull your prongs out, and it's very versatile piece here. These are just, I think they're wildflowers. Some are from Dollar Tree. Most are, might have got one piece from Walmart. I'm not sure. I buy flowers either places. So I am just going to poke these down in the styrofoam sporadically and just get them in there to my liking. So that's what I'm doing with these. Now I'm bringing in the sunflowers. This is a late summer, early fall, to me, type project. So I'm just going to take these big ones and I'm going to put one on each side and one straight down the middle. And I cut these off and then realized that it was too short, the one in the middle. So what I done was, there was one missing when I bought it. Y'all have to watch the Dollar Tree florals because sometimes they have some missing. So I just took one off and put it on the long stem that you see sitting there, and that fit right down in the middle. Where there's a will, there's a way. Ain't that what they say? So I make it happen. Now that's cute and you can leave it like that, but I had some smaller ones in a bush over here. I'm pretty positive I got these at Walmart. I don't know. I could have got them at Dollar Tree. Like I said, either or. And I am just going to set them down in there sporadically and kind of fill this in a little bit. So there it is. And it is so, so pretty. I love this thing. Okay. For the second one, you're going to need 4 more Dollar Tree frames. And it doesn't matter which frames, just as long as you get frames. I took everything out, throwing my papers away. I really don't want the glass in this one. You can put it back in, but when you do, you'll see your little stobs that I'm pulling out. So I'm going to carefully pull out all these little pieces, and you want to pull them towards you so you don't split the frame. And be careful because they can cut you. Now that that's done, I'm going to take my E6000 and I'm going to be applying E6000 to these frames. And I'm not sure if I used any hot glue because I really can't remember. I think this was later in the day and I just used E6000 because I was going to wait. I had to go cook my hubby's supper, y'all. So I was just going to wait and let these sit overnight. So that's why I just used E6000. But you can do either. But to me, hot glue does not hold for a long period of time. I'm afraid it'll fall apart. So E6000 it is. Or super glue or whatever glue you choose, okay? I'm just going to put this together and I'm going to let it sit. After it has sat for a little bit of time, I am just going to take some hot glue and some tongue depressor sticks, craft sticks, whatever you want to call them. And I'm going to put them along the back of the frame. I'm going to put one at the top, one at the bottom, and then I'm going to cut one in half to put on the sides. This, to me, is just extra security for my little brain, okay? So that's what I'm doing. I'm just cutting them down to fit on here. Now that it's finished with the sticks, it looks like this, and it's stable. And I can flip it over, and then I'm just going to take that rag and I'm going to wipe off any excess E6000 glue that has seeped through. Now I'm going to take this Elephant Gray by by Waverly Chalk Paint, and I'm going to distress this. You do not have to distress this if you don't want to. Distressing is my thing, and that's what I like. But if you don't, however, don't do it. But I just think in this piece especially, that distressing it a little bit brings out the detail. Look, you can see as I'm doing it, that grain that's supposed to be that fake wood really pops out, and it makes it look so much prettier. And if you go on too heavy, you can always take a rag and wipe it off while it's still wet, okay? If it dries, you can sand it off a little bit. But I kind of wanted, I lean more towards grays than I do browns. So I kind of wanted it looking gray. So that's the reason that I'm putting this on. Plus, you know, like I said, to make the grain pop. So, but if you don't want to do this, you do not have to. But I'm going to finish distressing mine. If you choose to paint it or distress it, don't forget your outsides and also the insides of your frame. Now, I got it looking like this, and I like it. So I'm going to take a curtain rod. This is a little bitty curtain rod. I bought it at Walmart. I think it's like less than $1 or two for $1 or something like that. I'm going to take this teeny tiny drill bit. And these things are like plastic, and I don't want it to break or anything like that. Going to end up putting those in there, and I didn't want to just screw them in, so I'm just going to take my little drill bit and I'm going to line it up, and I'm going to screw 2 holes in where these things will screw in a lot easier. Now I got my holes, and I'm just going to take my little twisty things and I'm going to screw them in. And the reason I chose these is because they're shorter screw things, so it won't go all the way through. However, if you get longer ones, you can screw them all the way through and take a pair of wire cutters, cut the end off on the other side, and you're good to go. And I'm sure y'all see my grandson pop in a time or two. He's over there playing with my stuff. But anyway, I'm gonna fold this down because you have to have a hem in it, and then, you know, I'm not gonna cut it off right where the window stops because I am gonna have to have a hem, and then I'm gonna have to have a little hem in the top, and when you draw it up, it'll pull up, so I cut it a little bit longer. Now I don't know how the measurements are because it depends on your window and what frames you buy, so you'll just have to measure it just a little bit longer and go from there. So anyways, I'm gonna cut this off, and then I am going to open this up after I even up the other end. I'm a big thing about evening the ends of my fabric. That's a pet peeve I have. It's all got to be even. So after I cut that off, then I am going to make sure before I do anything else that it fits on here. I'm only going to need 1/2 of this. So it was a yard piece of fabric, so I am just going to cut it in half. So you can do this with a fat quarter. That will work perfect. I'm just going to cut it in half, and then we'll go from there. Now I'm going to bring the other end around here, and I'm going to cut the selvage off because I don't want this. This is a long piece that I cut to go on the top. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want it to look like, or I'm fixing to cut it, I want it to look like a set of curtains that has the curtains hanging down and then has the valance on top. So I'm going to cut a piece in half for my 2 curtain panels, and then I'll cut a piece for the valance. And I want to make sure that I leave room for my seam allowances, so to speak. But this ain't no sew it Saturday, y'all. This is not. I'm going to do this for all you non-sewers. It would look better if it is sewn, but I'm going to put this one together with hot glue. Now, to make sure I get everything even, there was already a crease in it, but you cut the selvage off so it'll make it a different size. So I folded it right in half and ironed my half point. Now I'm going to take and fold over and iron. It helps. You don't have to do this, but it helps. So I'm going to fold over and then fold over again. And this is going to create my little hem. And the only reason I'm ironing it is to get them even. And then after I iron it, I am just going to take a bead of hot glue. You can use fabric glue. This is just regular hot glue. Gorilla Glue is what I prefer. And I just make a line and I glued it to my ironing surface, but it came off pretty easy. So I'm going to get rid of the ironing surface because I don't want that to happen again. And I'm going to do the same thing for all the edges of the curtain except the top. I'm not going to touch the top of any of the panels. I will do that later. Now once I have them all done, I'm going to set them out and I'm going to tack the ends of the topper to the curtains because I don't want them to move. That's the reason I ironed the crease in here, was to find the middle to figure out where to put my curtains. So I am just gluing this to make sure that everything lines up properly. If it doesn't, it's just glued. All you got to do is cut it and re-glue. That's simple. This is one of the easiest things to do, and it's so cute when you're done. So make sure this matches, and then I'm just going to start gluing all of it down. Then once this is glued down, I will take this piece and I will have it flat. I'll flip it over, and I'm just going to iron a little pocket in the back to insert my rod through. That's it. Okay, so I will let you know, I'm not afraid to admit my mistakes. You know, I didn't have no pattern for this or anything, but as you can see, it's sticking up. And so I don't want that because it's a little bit of fabric. Now, if you don't want that much fabric, you can make it smaller. That's up to you. You can easily shorten each side. So I'm going to take it off, take the rod out. Now I'm going to take my glue. My pocket is still there. And I'm just going to glue down this flap because when you scrunched it up on the rod, it flipped up. So this helped. Now I'm going to put my rod back through and string it on my window. And it looks great. So as you can see, it's laying flat and it did a lot better. Now I'm just going to take hot glue and I am going to glue where that hole of that little curtain rod and that little, I don't know what you call it, that screw hook thing that I put in there, and make sure that nothing slips off. Now, there is my curtain. It's so cute. Now, let me open it up, and I'm just going to take some ribbon, and that one was too fat, so I'm going to take this thinner ribbon, and I'm just going to make a loop, and I was going to glue it to the side, but when I done that, I realized it wasn't working. So I pulled it around to the back. You'll see me do that in just a minute here. So when you glue them down, don't glue them straight down like I'm doing now. Make sure that you glue them to the back. So once I figured it out, I strung it around the curtain, glued the two pieces together to make sure they didn't shift or anything. Then I'm going to adjust my curtain, put it, where I think it should be, pull it around to the back, and then I'm going to tack it to the back. If you need to, you can tack it in the front as well, but mine worked fine just tacking it in the back. And there is what it looks like when it is done. You can adjust your curtain the way you want it. You do not have to put a curtain on this if you don't want to. If you just want a window pane, that's up to you. Now, I ended up folding the insides so it's not so bushy. So now I'm taking these two rings, and I get these from the Dollar Tree. They're the smaller wreath forms. And I've got this boxwood that I got from Walmart. And then I have a little bit of this green burlap left. And I want to go around this frame to, one, cover it, and two, give me something to glue the boxwood to. So I'm going to take this ribbon and I'm going to glue it. And I'm not gluing it again. I'm just tacking it and then run it all the way around the wreath form. And I'm doing it wide just to make sure that I have enough. And actually it came out perfect. Praise the Lord. Now when you get to the end of your burlap, just take your hot glue and glue it down. Make sure you don't touch it. You can use one of those little silicone fingers or spatula or this little makeup thing right here, whatever you have, scissors. I've seen people use Lord knows what, and just mush that glue down. Then all I'm going to do is disassemble these sprigs and glue them down around this wreath until I get it filled in the way I want it. And if it's not, you can take extra pieces because there will be gaps. And I'm just going to take these little pieces like this and I'm going to cover inside and out. And now I have one of these pieces from I think it was a flower on this, or maybe a truck or something. I don't know. But I'm just going to show you how I struggle like a mad dog trying to get this cut. Y'all, I'm not what I used to be, okay? So, anyways, it was a struggle. Y'all won't have to watch me do the other one, I promise. But I'm taking this wire off of this and all of these little doodads there that had the hangy thing. Now, I tried to spackle these holes, but it didn't work. So what I ended up doing, I'm just going to tell you because I didn't show you, is I put clear tape on the back. And then I'm going to paint it white. I don't know where the footage went of me painting it and gluing it on, but I painted it white and glued it to the front, and I moved it around till I got a skinny piece. Now I'm using these hooks that was on the back of these frames, and I'm just going to rip it off, take most of the cardboard that came with it off, use my pliers and smash that grommet down, or whatever that thing is in there, and then glue it on the back. Then I'm going to take a piece of ribbon because I'm always nervous about just gluing something down. You don't know me. And then I'm going to take glue and I'm going to glue over the top of that to secure it just a little more. Now I put a push pin in there between the two frames, and that's all I do to put this on, except I wasn't happy, so I had to move my push pin up because it didn't look right to me. So I moved my pin, but all you got to do is push a push pin in there, nail, screw, whatever you got. Command hook might work, I don't know, I've never used it, and then there you go. Now how cute is this stinking thing? Like I said, you do not have to have a curtain. If you don't want it, you can just do a frame with your wreath. These wreaths can be changed out for the seasons, and I'm going to do the same thing to this, except I'm actually screwing a screw in the back of this one. So that's how you're going to hang the whole window. And this is very versatile for each season. I think it is so stinking adorable. Now for this one, we're going to be using frames, but we're going to be using the canvas frames. The wood frames under these are good, and I'm going to be using some giant craft sticks that I got at Walmart. So the first thing is I'm going to take these staples out and take these apart. What I ended up doing was ripping them apart. It doesn't matter if you have the staples in this or not. We're going to be using the front side. And I will tell you, on the little ones, the frames are crap, okay? They're rickety. They're just sticks stuck together. I could have built the frame myself. But, however, we're still going to use them, okay? We're going to go with it. When you get them apart, you want to sand them little boogers because they are rough. And then I used my spackle and I filled in around the cracks of them. And these do not match up even. Nothing from Dollar Tree usually matches up even. But I'm going to take my Titebond wood glue. I just transferred it to another bottle. And I'm going to take a very little thin layer of hot glue and smush these two together. That'll be my top part of this framing thing. And then I'm just going to take wood glue and a little thin line of hot glue and smush the bottom to the top, and you want to match them up as even as you can. I'm also going to add some of those scrap popsicle sticks or craft sticks, tongue depressors, whatever you call it, to the back for security, just so nothing comes apart. Now I'm going to take my Waverly wax and I'm going to stain this. Normally I do not stain this way. I use a baby wipe. But this thing had too many splinters for me to even try to use a baby wipe because, one, it would have left fuzz behind, and two, I didn't want to dig splinters out of my finger. I was trying to put this on and then use the rag to wipe it off. The wood grain coming through was beautiful, but this was just, it wasn't working. It was too thick. So I ended up taking some Waverly wax and some water and thinned it out and just made a stain, and this easily covered all of my frame. Make sure you go inside and out and all that jazz. Then I'm going to take one of these giant craft sticks from Walmart, and I am going to put my stain that I made on this, and then I will be cutting it down. Y'all see my little granddaughter? She's running around in there now. She got up from her nap. There's my grandson. Y'all, have a busy day. I have busy days. busy days. But anyways, I give this thing 2 coats because it was so thin. Now I'm going to remove my little rubber mat because you cannot cut on these silicone mats. And I'm just going to cut straight lines down. Measure them out. You want these even. So I'm just going to cut a piece off the side, and all I'm going to do is, once I get that mat out of my way, which drove me half insane, I'm going to hold this down, and I'm going to take my knife, and I'm just going to make just a few passes with, using the ruler edge, and this thing is going to snap right off. They cut very, very easy. And then I'll line it up and cut another one the same size. Now, it's important you get these the same size. Now that my 2 sticks are cut, I'm just going to overlap them. Now you can cut, measure, and cut to make them, go in each other or fixate to each other. I don't know which color really. I know what I'm trying to say, but it ain't coming out right. But you can cut them down to attach them to each other. To me, it wasn't making any big difference in the end, so I'm just going to overlap mine. But you do want to flip it over to the front and make sure you get them even. Because you can't see it from the back. So I'm just going to put my stick down. Then I'm going to lift my frame up slightly, put glue in between it, and smash it back down. Then I can flip it over and attach my other side. I'm going to attach my other stick the exact same way. And once you get one on, I got one on, I'm going to take my shears, and I'm just going to trim it to the side so that it's not sticking out. So I'm going to do the other one the same way and then trim it down. So you'll end up with something that looks like this, and I'm just going to take my pink tool and I am going to pick the excess glue that came out. You may not have any, but I do, just because I'm a sloppy gluer, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to clean that up. Then I am going to... That's what I thought. Y'all, I forgot. I am going to take my gray and I am going to heavily distress over this, because I want my door more gray than brown, you know. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can actually paint it any color you want to. That's up to you. And if I haven't said before, yeah, we're making a door. So this is my favorite. This is my favorite, okay? Out of all three of these projects, this is my absolute favorite. The way this came out, just, I don't know, it was so cute. I was going to sell it, you know, because I sell some of my stuff. I'm keeping this one, y'all. This frame I got at Hobby Lobby on clearance, and it had a screen in it. I wanted the screen, so I'm going to take this apart. And first, I was going to take the staples out like I do the Dollar Tree stuff. Y'all, this thing, it was not happening. I actually slipped and poked a hole in my screen. So I ended up taking my X-Acto knife, your blade, whatever you got, and just cut the screen off the frame. So now I got my screen off, finally, and I'm just going to lay my little door down, and I was going to glue it, you know, on that actually was a lot of holes. So what I done was move it over a little bit, and I tacked it down with glue. Now I'm not gluing it because it won't be secure. It's going right through the, you know, screen, of course. But anyways, I tacked this side down at least. Then I'm going to take my stapler, and this is more than a little, you know, hand stapler or office stapler, but it's not the big dog, okay? So I got this one on Amazon. I absolutely love it. And I'm just going to staple these, the screen down in random places and making sure that I pull it tight, because you don't want no sloppy screen in your door. So I'm just going to pull it and staple, pull and staple all the way around this door. And I'm going to put some in the middle, see, just to tack it down and make it secure. Once I got the screen all tacked down, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm just going to take my knife and I'm going to go around the screen, trying not to cut the wood, but getting as close as I can. You don't want no screen poking out your door, you know what I'm saying? So just do the best you can to get it off. Now that it's off, I'm just going to, or trimmed, or whatever you want to call it, I'm just going to take some hot glue and I'm going to go around the, you know, just around the screen, just to make sure it's tacked down and not bubbling out. Now I have this vine, and I get it in the wedding part when it goes on sale at Hobby Lobby. And I just cut a piece off, and I'm going to wind it around itself, its wire, to get it, you know, make a wreath. Now, I had these pieces, and I got these from Hobby Lobby as well. They might be Tim Holtz, I'm not sure. Pretty sure the handles, some of them are Tim Holtz. They come in little packages. Some of the bigger ones are back where the woodworking and the clocking and all that stuff is. Or clocking, clocks. Clock making, the woodworking, and all that stuff. So anyways, I'm just going to pick a handle, okay? And I am going to take fabric tack glue to glue the little embellishments to the corners. And then I'm going to use these little screws to screw the handle on. I used fabric tack because hot glue would have seeped through, And even if fabric tack seeps through, it's clear and it will hold just perfect. This is fabric tack glue, by the way. I just put all my glue in different bottles that are smaller and, you know, easier to handle. So when I get them down, I am just going to take my rag and I'm going to wipe off any excess glue that may be on the top. This fabric tack, I don't like using it because it never comes off my hands. But it smells bad too, by the way. But it dries clear. Like I said, it's permanent and it tacks fast. So my door's pretty much done, and I took a little tack and I took my little hammer and hammered it in to hang my wreath. Now you can leave it like this if you want to, but I took these little stickers, I forgot I had them actually, and I put them on the side like hinges. This made it look so much better. Here's everything. And I love the window, but my favorite is the door. I sell my stuff sometimes locally, and that door is mine, y'all. It is not going anywhere. All the wreaths and the fabrics can all be changed out to suit the holiday or whatever your decor is. The flowers can be changed out as well as the pictures in the box. If y'all like this video, please give me a big thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel, become part of my YouTube family, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. With all that being said, you are a blessing. I'll catch you next time. Bye.